Yo, welcome to Hot Takes with Chedda Chaz, but there's no hand holding. We do with facts and emotion. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Shout out to the Scott Vigna law officers. You guys should support them because they support us. So today is a bittersweet show, man. I got a bittersweet show for y'all. It depends on who you are. Some of y'all, you're going to hear this news and get wet. I know that's how some of you fellas are going to react. But today is the final episode of Hot Takes with Chedda Chaz. That's it. I'm calling it quits, man. I've had a lot of fun doing this show. Got to engage with some fun people. Shout out to Sam, Corey, 504. There's everybody in the chat. There's so many great people. Even Mont Dog, even old Mont Dog. Y'all know Mont Dog nickname. I got a lot of shit I'm working on. I got some properties. Just got a new tenant in that condo I was telling y'all about. Got some new music dropping for those of y'all who fuck with the music. I know some people like, oh, your music sucks. Hey, maybe it does. That's why I'm leaving you bitch ass niggas so I can go work on it, so I can improve, so I can hone my craft. I got some short films coming out and working on. I already started putting that together. I don't know where y'all might see me next. I'm probably still gonna be doing the Bleacher Report things. You know what I'm saying? They call. Got some other things on the table. We'll see, how that goes. And look, before y'all start the bullshit, no, the Pelicans did not make me quit. No, I didn't get fired. No, Brandon Ingram didn't threaten me and say he was gonna hurt me or nothing. I'm just tired. I'm just, I got other things I want to do, man. I've enjoyed rapping with y'all, kicking it, but I just got other things I want to do. My contract ended in June 30th. So that's why I haven't done a show in a while. I was kind of trying to figure out how I wanted the last show to be. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna come rap with my people and holler at y'all, let y'all know how much I appreciate y'all. Be sure y'all look, I got I got my own YouTube page. That's Chedda Chaz on here. You can check that out. Hit me up on Twitter if you're a fan of the show. I already talked to some of y'all, Sam, and I already hollered at some of y'all. So you could always reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? Nothing ever's been personal on here. All jokes, all funny. Some of y'all, I think y'all some weirdos. Some of y'all. But hey, y'all probably don't fuck with me. But the good thing is, neither one of us probably care how the other one feels. So hit me up, holler at me. Y'all, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Chedda Chaz. I'm gonna have some new content coming out on there. I already filmed a bunch of interviews with some interesting people. I'm gonna have models and porn stars, all kind of shit on there. So y'all be sure to go follow that. But yeah, man, I had a great time doing the show, bro. Truthfully, it's not something I ever really wanted to do. Started off in the spaces talking with Chris and just building a community with other people who love the Pelicans. Never even knew there were this many Pelicans fans that existed. At one time I was just expressing my thoughts on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Listening to any Pelicans podcast I can get a hold of. I never, ever thought about getting into sports talk. I've been afforded some incredible opportunities, man. Just so thankful to Justin and Ross just giving me the opportunity and allowing me to be me. You know what I'm saying? Not always the easiest guy to deal with because, I don't got no cut cards. I ain't got no cut cards. And man, I faced a lot of backlash since I've been doing this. But if you know me, I never change. I never change for nobody. The whole pause thing. But look, before Cameron and Mace was doing the pause shit, that's me. That's Chedda Chaz. Chedda Chaz brought that to sports talk. You can go back, listen to the old spaces. Chedda Chaz did that. Yeah, they all hated on me. They all were jealous of me. Nobody wanted to show love. Nobody was welcoming with open arms. You know why? Because when I came on the scene, shit got real. They've been doing it 10 years, 15 years. Had websites, had forums, had all these avenues, had access to the team. Young brother like me show up and they realize King Kong is in the motherfucking building. You know what I'm saying? The real ones are in the building. I'm the motherfucker. And that's been a problem since day one. But I never switched up. Never changed. This is Chedda every day. A lot of haters in the media I dealt with. The Jakes, the Schmitz, the Masons. You know what I'm saying? Just there's a bunch of no-name ass Pelican podcasters also. I don't even know their names, but a bunch of those bozos. A lot of people showed me love as well. The David Grubbs, Lyle. There's a bunch of people who've been really supportive and to show love. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them. But yeah, man, this hasn't always been easy, bro. Even the team, I've dealt with issues with the Pelicans, public relations people. Their PR team had a bit of an issue with me. And of course, the spectators, the fans and stuff. And a lot of the pushback I believe I've gotten is a result of me being a young black dude in a space that hasn't really seen too many of us in this, arena, no pun intended. And not just that, I'm like I'm super duper authentically me. You know what I'm saying? I'm 100% me. And that rubs people the wrong way, pause. And you'll be shocked at some of the people I've had issues with. You'll be like, him? I'm like, yeah, him too. Him too, man. But throughout it all, stayed Chedda Chaz. And I'm gonna keep it real. And I'm saying this as humbly as possible. It can't be disputed, undoubtedly. I am the best person to ever do this. I'm the best, hands down. I didn't even know I was as good as I was. You go back to my early episodes, I was kind of nervous. I didn't really know what to talk about. I didn't really know how I was going to do this. Spent a lot of time on camera before. I used to have an OnlyFans, so I spent a lot of time on camera in the past, but never really talking sports. But I knew that I knew what I was talking about, and truthfully, I feel like I'm at least 99% of my predictions have come to pass. Like, just keeping it 100. Keeping it 100. Like, come on, you see how this offseason going. Tell me Chedda Chaz didn't call that. Tell me Chedda Chaz didn't call that. And the best part about being authentically yourself and just staying grounded in who you are and keeping it real with people. Like, I'm not no fucking sports celebrity. Like, I'm just a dude who talk, so you hit me up respectfully, I'm gonna interact with you. We gonna crack jokes. It's all love, right? The best part about being yourself is if you win doing it your way, being sincere, being genuine, it feels so much better. Pause. Like, me getting calls to do like national hosting gigs, even turning down some national hosting gigs. I'm like, you guys paying money? You ain't paying no money? I'm good. Like, even, things like that, knowing that, there's a lot of people who have an issue with the way I talk, with how I carry myself, the way I look. There's a lot of people that take issue with that. But the fact that I'm still getting these opportunities, and the biggest opportunity came from this network, it's to me, it just feels incredible to be appreciated and be respected for something you didn't even really want to do. So I never could have imagined I would have been able to talk to people and people respond and people get angry, and me just knowing how to control people's emotions. I never knew I would be able to get so many reactions from people whenever I wanted. Like, I can wake up, for y'all who follow me on Twitter, I can wake up and just like, watch this, and tweet some shit, and everybody go say, oh, Chaz, but the shit I'm not trolling. It's 100% true what I'm saying, but I know the reaction is going to get. Just like with this show, I know the reaction is going to get. But here's the thing. You got to run up to the edge to know where the edge is. You got to be like willing to take risk. Can't be afraid, because if I was kissing ass the last 2 seasons, if I was just, oh, the Pelicans are great, oh, Brandon's great, oh, Willie Green is great. Think about this. Where are those people that have been doing that? Jake's been doing this for years. This network has as many subscribers as him, and we've only been doing it a couple years. Schmidt, he's the guy who Schmidt works on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really, we put most of the other companies out of business. You know what I'm saying? The only person, and he's kind of like me as far as like brash and to the point, only person shining is, David Grubb doing his thing on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else just, So what does all that ass kissing get you? Nothing. You're still in the back of the line, while the guy who was keeping it real, ain't holding no hands, ain't kissing no ass, ain't trying to be nobody friend. I don't want no tickets to the game. I don't want no autograph. I don't want no dap. Just shoot the motherfucking basketball, man. Shoot the basketball. Make the shot, man. You my entertainment. And if you watch this show, I'm your entertainment. Quid pro quo. You know what I'm saying? Quid pro quo. Transactional. You know what I'm saying? So that being the case, man, I want to thank y'all for y'all support. Even if you hate watch the show, thank you for all y'all donations, all the love, all the reassurance you've given me in the comments. Like, man, Chaz, keep doing your thing. Chaz, you speaking the truth. It don't go unnoticed, bro. Thank you for all the congratulations you've given me on the property, on the car. I be seeing it in the comments. Sometimes I really just, I just got to get away from YouTube and get away from the Pelicans and just detox, because I don't know how I made it through the season, bro. I don't know how I made it through the season. My last show was supposed to be in December, and I just like, nah, I gotta push through. I push through, man. And again, just thank y'all. And who knows what the future holds? Who knows? Because if they fuck around, they gonna find out, and I might have to come make an appearance. So who knows? We'll see, man. You see my shirt. Shout out to OJ. The other day was his birthday. Ain't too many people brave enough to wear an OJ shirt. It's just me, Cameron, and Mace. You know what I'm saying? I'm setting trends. But this was a show I did earlier on Bleacher Report. I hope y'all enjoy it. And yo, I got something special for y'all. I had something real special for y'all, but I fucked up because I asked Justin permission to do it. And it's easier to get forgiveness than permission. So I should have just did it. But it's all good. It's all good. Maybe I'll release it on the members only one day. I'm gonna just log in and release the shit. But it's all good, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for all the support. Keep supporting the network. They got so much great content coming. You got Lito, you got Five, you got Chris, you got Lala. She's incredible. You got Justin, you got Ross, you got Chris Roscoe. You got so many incredible people on this network contributing. And this network is totally organic. It's built from the ground up. Ain't nobody kissing no ass. And yeah, man, I'm just privileged and honored to have been a part of it. And yeah, I'm out, man. And just like that, he was gone. From Cat to get better, because once Cat go to that hold on, let me put this question.
I know it's I already know what you about. I just seen it.
You dumb fuck. Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. Karl Anthony Towns was a multiple-time All-NBA player, multiple-time All-Star, one of the probably a top 15, top 20 player in the league. Did you not just hear his fucking numbers? It depends on what the goal is, and I'm glad I'm here to do this. To me, this is the future of the team. This is how bright the future of the team is with Zion. This is the future of the team with Scoot as your best player. This is the future of the team with Brandon Ingram as the number one option on this team. Who's going to play the center? Motherfucker, if you got Damian Lillard, Zion Williamson, CJ, Herb, Trey, Brandon, who gives a fuck who's the center? Airbud could be the motherfucking center. Who cares? The center is probably working at fucking Best Buy right now. I'll play center. Sometimes, you got to pour out a little liquor for them. You know what I'm saying? You got to pour out a little liquor for them. They got to go. Sometimes they got to go. We're here to take full advantage. And I know what you're thinking. What kind of person, what kind of scumbag, what kind of sleazeball would try to benefit from the Celtics' demise and their, organization being in disarray right now? Me, motherfucker. We got to stop it. We got to fucking stop it. It has to stop. It's going too far. All these stupid ass buzzwords. This shit. Once terms get gentrified, that's when it becomes fucking whack. It just becomes wiggity fucking whack. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is no hyperbole. I think they're children who play. So I don't mean young men. They're children who play NBA 2K that know more about time management and rotations than Willie Green. He should suit up and go to the fucking Big Three and play basketball. That's what he should do. He should suit up, go to the fucking Big Three and play basketball. I talk to Ice Cube all the time. I'll get him on the phone for you, Willie. Boy, no progress being made. I told y'all before I've been saying this to the high heavens, Dyson Daniels is the worst player I've ever witnessed offensively. Dyson, if you've ever seen a worse basketball player offensively than Dyson Daniels, you deserve a fucking Purple Heart Medal of Honor because you witnessed some shit. You didn't see more shit than they seen in 9. Defensively, he would have to have fucking Superman skin. Like level defense. It's not. Justin, it is Willie because it is Willie because I don't want to hear about the steward is fucking up the flight. No, it's the captain. Everything goes wrong on a flight is the fucking captain's fault. This bitch spilled some drinks on seat B9. I don't give a fuck. It's the captain. Zion, motherfucker, go 6 for 6. I'm like, he got to score 40 tonight. Zion's time to come out, brother. What is he doing? What part of the game is this? Yeah. What part of the game is this? Well, I don't want to say Joel called somebody dumb. I'm not going to say dumb. I'm going to say asinine. This is a motherfucker that he was even you gave him a chance to go somewhere else and you left the door open for him to come back. You should have said, whoa, hold on. While you was gone, when we checked LinkedIn, we got some new people in here. I'm not falling for debate. I've been black a long time. I'm not. Come on, Larry, not cut the shit. Cut the shit. I don't care about nobody playing through injury. That's why you get paid the big bucks. That's why you get paid the big bucks. As good as Larry Nance was tonight, I still need to know, was that $10.5 million worth of good? No, because I just saw Biombo, who was fucking working at Denny's. I had open jumpers. But I've never, when people say, Kyra was figuring out, no, you know why he was figuring it out? Because he couldn't read at first. So if a motherfucker can spell his name, that don't mean he's intelligent now. He couldn't read at first. He was starting in hell. Now he's in the dirt. That don't mean that he's doing better in the playoffs. Shout out to Corey. If Trajan had, and I don't even know what Trajan do. Trajan worked with Tommy from Martin. Trajan do shit. Trajan holds Griffin's phone and gets his coffee. He don't do nothing. Josh Hart, nice guy, good wine, but Josh Hart shouldn't be making no coaching decisions for you. What the fuck are we doing here? That's what's happening here. That's what's happening here. Yeah, it gotta be. Oh, every kiss begin with K-ass. Only Willie and Griff capable of corny shit like that.
No way.
Stan Van Gundy would have said, "Get the fuck up out of here with that." That's why I keep saying this team got a bunch of weird, bizarre, intimate relationships with players. I don't like what's going on around here. Last thing, y'all, I do a lot of charity stuff. It's cold. It's getting, this is around the time of year we start doing cold drives. I wanted to use this platform. Look, if y'all have anything, any type of dirt or personal information type of stuff I could get Willie Green ousted from the organization with. This man gave up $12 million to go to the bum-ass Spurs, who didn't even make the finals that year, went to the Warriors like the next year or year after that, and got a ring on a minimum contract, and said, well, you can't take the money with you. You can't take the ring with you neither. You dead. So you would have died with $12 million more. Man. Robert Horry got 10 rings. Robert Horry probably catch the bus. Yeah. And speaking of which, I think Andrew specifically, I think you're a low class, lowbrow piece of shit. So for you specifically, and I feel that way about a great deal of y'all. Yo, what's going on? Welcome to today's broadcast. I'm your host, Chedda Chaz. We're gonna get into grading the Pelicans offseason. So far, a lot of questions have to be answered. We're gonna get into the draft, which we pretty much know everything about at this point, right? Start with the former first, as you guys start to come in here. The Pelicans draft was interesting. They tried to put together a few moves to move up and get Klingon. It was just a little too expensive for them to do so, especially in this draft. The 21st pick is like, I was shocked to see Klingon fall as far as he fell, but you weren't moving up with the 21st pick in this draft. So, and they settled for a guy that they kind of had their eye on, in Yves Masai, and very raw prospect, very very raw prospect, hasn't been playing organized basketball very long. Personally, I think it's going to prove to be a bit of a mistake. I would have liked to see them trade that 21st pick and move back to get multiple seconds, or take a guy like Isaiah Collier. Just because you just saw the Jackson Hayes situation with Yves Masai. The Pelicans don't necessarily have the guys in the building to really nurture and develop such a raw prospect. You just saw they had to move off of a guy like Dyson who'd been playing organized basketball for years. Shout out to you, Dave. How you doing, brother? Like, you just saw they had to move off a guy like Dyson Daniels who'd been playing professional basketball for years, and when he came to the Pelicans, he appeared to be nothing but an extremely raw project player. You saw what happened with Jackson Hayes, as I mentioned before. Kyra Lewis Jr., Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's finally finding his footing now on his 4th team at this point. I don't think he ever played for Portland or Utah, but I guess this is 4th team at this point in Minnesota. So I give the Masai pick, man, I'm going to give that a C-. Now, I really like what they were able to do, getting into the draft again in the second round and getting Antonio Reeves, which I found to be really interesting, because I just wonder, with all of the Pelicans salary cap implications and the salary they had to give up in that DeJounte Murray trade, what Antonio Reeves being on the roster means for the future of Jordan Hawkins with this organization. I think Jordan Hawkins has the potential to be very good. It's just really interesting to me, because you go get Antonio Reeves. I give that pick an A. You go get Antonio Reeves right in the second round. Skill set is a bit similar to Jordan Hawkins, one of the best shooters in college, upperclassman, and he can put the ball on the floor a little bit. Then this offseason, before Malik Beasley, he shouldn't have let Jonas walk. Jonas didn't want to come back, bro. Jonas felt disrespected by the organization, and he was disrespected by the organization, and he did not want to come back. He had no intentions on coming back whatsoever. I think this is CJ Insurance. Antonio, I think Antonio is more of a forward, but I think, man, I don't know, bro. It depends, because I don't think Jordan Hawkins is like untouchable in trade talks. So I think it's Jordan Hawkins Insurance. And the point I was getting to was the Pelicans had been rumored to have interest in what's my man's name? In Malik Beasley, right? Now, Malik Beasley was a minimum player last year. This year, he signed for about $6 million with the Pistons, if I'm not mistaken. So he signs for $6 million with the Pistons. But if you're the Pelicans, I'm like, wow, you have a gluttony of guards, and they all kind of do the same thing. Why would you be interested in Beasley, right? And I'm presuming they wanted him for about the minimum. And if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Hawkins is making roughly $5 million. And truthfully, man, last year, yeah, Jordan Hawkins didn't get a fair shot by Willie Green, but you were able to get Jordan Hawkins level production from a guy like Matt Ryan, you know what I'm saying, for probably about $2 million. So Jordan Hawkins' salary right now seems like an overpay, unless the coaches position him to succeed this year. You know what I mean? The coaches have to really position him to succeed this year to justify his salary right now. Yeah, it's not a lot of money, but if you can get a minimum player, or Antonio Reeves comes out as a rookie and gives you the same level of production as Jordan Hawkins, it looks like an overpay. So let me see what y'all saying. Get rid of CJ. Oh man, people hate CJ so much. I don't understand it, until, to be honest, we are still failing. Yo, James Osborne, you hit the nail on the head, brother. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. So the Pelicans go out and they acquire DeJounte Murray, and some feel like they got a really sweet deal. You know, it depends on how you look at it. You gave up number 8 pick in Dyson Daniels. You gave up Larry Nance, which was pretty much expired salary. You gave up that Lakers first, and if I'm not mistaken, a Bucks protected pick, and you gave up a second round pick at EJ Liddell. So let's just say you gave up let's just call it a half, 2.5 first and a second for DeJounte Murray. Now, people were texting me when this happened. You know, I was talking to some of the people at the network, Boo Crew Media, and they didn't like, people like, this is a great deal, it's a great deal. And my position was, alone it's a great deal, but this deal can't be judged alone. It's only a great deal if the Pelicans manage to trade Brandon Ingram. If they can trade Brandon Ingram and get a big, then this is a great deal. Because acquiring DeJounte Murray at his current salary, we're at about $25 million. The Pelicans, for about a week, they gave themselves incredible leverage to either you could walk away from a Brandon Ingram overpay, or you don't have to take a terrible deal in exchange for Brandon Ingram. You can shoot for the moon. You can go after Laurie. You can go after Karl-Anthony Towns if you want to. You know, you can do things like that. But now, as time has passed, and look, if you watch any of the broadcasts I've done on Bleacher Report, I've told you for a long time now, Brandon Ingram has little to no trade value. In fact, the phrase I used was, Brandon played so bad during the postseason and at points during the regular season that he's in an upside down. He went so deep into the Earth's core that he ended up in the upside down. Because he was so bad, now you're almost forced to keep him and extend him in hopes that he can recoup some of his value. And that's what you're kind of seeing happen with the market. So now when you look at the DeJounte Murray situation, DeJounte making $25 million. The Pelicans right now, Larry Nance was their sole center on the roster. And Larry Nance was more before, but he was their sole center on the roster. The Pelicans have never paid the luxury tax. And with them aggregating sending out multiple salaries in that DeJounte Murray trade, now they've hard capped themselves at the first apron, which gives them at this point, about $6 million to play with. But the Pelicans, like I said before, they've never paid the luxury tax. The Pelicans are only about $900,000 from the luxury tax right now. So with them being $900,000 from the luxury tax, they have a roster of 12 players. The league mandatory minimum is 14. They have to sign an additional, I said you give Reeves a two-way contract. They have to sign an additional 2 players, go into the tax during the season, if I'm not mistaken, and then they have to find a way out of the tax. That's if this roster stays the same. They have to find a way out of the tax. Mind you, you don't have a starting center. You lost Najee Marshall. You lost Dyson Daniels. You lost Jonas Valanciunas. So you don't really have depth on the second unit. You need a wing. So you need a starting center and you need a wing. Jose Alvarado's due for a contract extension. Trey Murphy's due for a contract extension. Like, it's a lot of things happening right now. And all of the leverage that they initially gained with that DeJounte Murray trade, they've lost. So now teams know the Pelicans need to move Brandon Ingram. Now you need to move him. All of the stuff that they've been putting out, we would love to keep him here, da-da-da. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that for multiple reasons. One, you're not going to go out and say, we got to get rid of this guy. We can't wait to move him. That doesn't make sense. That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. That's not how negotiations happen in the media, right? 2, David Griffin has a bit of an abnormal, what's the word I'm looking for? He really likes Brandon Ingram. He has a bit of a non-objective fascination with Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is like the crown jewel of that Anthony Davis trade at this point. Brandon Ingram, his first year here, he really, really did some incredible things in the playoffs for the Pelicans a couple years ago. He really did some incredible things. So I'm sure Brandon Ingram at one point in his career was proving David Griffin to be correct. And things have turned drastically since then, right? Now, if you look at it, the Pelicans, they also may not have a choice but to bring him back. You're not going to go out there and, you don't want to soil the pool. I'll say that. You don't want to soil the pool with Brandon Ingram. And it's bad enough you're not offering him as much money as he wants. Reportedly, he wants the max, which is about 208. The Pelicans, from what I've been told, are more interested in being in the 160, 170 range. And if you ask me, even 170 is an overpay, drastic overpay. But that also might make it easier to move him moving forward. Sign and trade Brandon Ingram. Man, the question just becomes for who, right? Question becomes for who. And when you look across the league, and I said this on my show on Buku Media, when you canvass the league, you really have to ask yourself, what team needs a Brandon Ingram type? It's not a volume three-point shooter. It's not really a strong rebounder. It's not really a strong defender. He's kind of DeRozan light. He doesn't really get to the free throw line. He doesn't really... he facilitates, in my opinion, he's a very solid wing facilitator, solid to good wing facilitator. And he misses a ton of games. So, and he wants a crazy contract. He's in season 9. So the chances of him developing more are kind of slim to none, I wish we could trade BI for Jared Allen. I wish so too. And look, I'm sure the Pelicans wish they could as well, right? That's still a situation to keep an eye on. Kenny Atkinson going. See, the thing with the Cavaliers, it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Because you had James Borrego rumored to be hired there, right? Well, rumored to be in the running as a potential head coach there. James Borrego and Brandon Ingram didn't have like the greatest basketball relationship last season. In fact, I'd say they had a terrible basketball relationship last season. So that would have kind of kept Cleveland out of the Brandon Ingram market, in my opinion. Now they go and hire Kenny Atkinson, who was like Jared Allen's like homeboy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dog Lito. Y'all be sure to check out Lito, the Godcast on Book Media, and In Space with Chris Conner on Book Media. Pro Pels Talk. A lot of best Pelicans coverage in the land. Best local Pelicans coverage in the land. So yeah, man. Kenny Atkinson has such an affinity for Jared Allen. And Donovan Mitchell has such an affinity for Jared Allen. I don't know if I just don't know at this point. And again, if you're Cleveland and with any team, acquiring Brandon Ingram, knowing his contract demands, and he is a very powerful agent, it's going to put you in an awkward position because now you're looking at becoming a second apron team. And if you're going to become a second apron team, it better be for a player, a superstar caliber player that puts you over the edge. And I mean, does Brandon Ingram on the Cleveland Cavaliers really, put them in the running with Boston? I feel like Cleveland has to do something. They need to do something because Philly got a lot better. Boston is Boston. Orlando got a lot better. Orlando was one game from, getting them up out of here. So Cleveland got to do something. Cleveland has to do something. And I'm hoping they just go for the Hail Mary and get Brandon Ingram. But again, man, if the Pelicans were to be a tax team this year, right? Let's say the Pelicans go into the tax. And with them being about $6 million from the apron where they're hard capped, what center is realistically available out there for about $6 million? Like who let's just say, let's make it 7. Let's say 7. What center out there is realistically available for $7 million that you would feel comfortable starting? Now, some would say Kessler Walker, right? Oh, I'm a fan, right? I think he's a solid guy to take a look at. But consider this. If you're the Pelicans and you go into the season and you call up the Jazz like, yo, I need Kessler. And the Jazz say, cool, here you go. Right? You got Kessler. Now you're in a luxury tax. In the event that you're about $4 million into the luxury tax, and you still would have to sign one more player. So let's just say 5. You're about $5 million into the luxury tax. The luxury tax bill on that, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like $1.25 on the dollar. So let's say you end up paying like what, 10.5 or something like that in a luxury tax penalty, something along those lines. So you do that. The season goes awry, right? Season goes awry. Season ain't working. It's not going good. Now you have to get out of the tax. What you gonna do? Who you gonna trade? Like, you don't have any avenues out of the tax. And let's say you want to trade CJ McCollum. Let's say you're in the tax and you say, hey, all right, we need to get out of the tax. Let's trade CJ McCollum. Okay, cool. Who wants CJ McCollum? What's the market for him? And let's say a team say, okay, we'll take him. We'll take his $33 million because next year he's going to expire in that $30 million. But you don't have any second round pick. The Pelicans, I think they have 2. One in like 2030 and a fake one in like 31. Something like they don't really have any second round picks because they had to give up 4 second round picks the last time they wanted to deduct the tax with Devontae Graham. So teams knowing you don't want to pay the tax, you don't have any smaller salary to really move off of to deduct the tax, and you're ducking the apron, they're gonna have you over a barrel. Like, you're gonna have to probably attach multiple first to deduct the tax in that event. So it's just such it all goes back to the Pelicans absolutely have to move Brandon Ingram. They have to find a way to move Brandon Ingram. Personally, I say you got to take whatever you can get at this stage, because if you're a hustler, you're going to be able to maneuver what you get and turn it into something. Whether it's an asset heavy package, maybe you get multiple seconds and a couple first, just do it. because you're losing leverage every day. The Pelicans have a soft deadline in early August, because if they extend Brandon after, I believe, the 6th, if they extend Brandon after the 6th or the 9th, they won't be able to trade him for about 6 months. So they would go past the trade deadline. So you have a soft deadline to where you need to agree on an extension, and you can't overpay for the sake of overpaying. You can't just. I think people are viewing it from the lens of you can't trade Brandon for pennies on a dollar. The NBA is telling you. The NBA is telling the Pelicans. The NBA is telling Brandon Ingram and his agent Jeff Schwartz, you are not a dollar. You do not have a dollar. So it's not pennies on a dollar because you don't have a dollar. It's a fallacy. Like the logic is flawed. So let's see. Robert Williams. I think if you had Robert Williams as like your second or third big, I think it would be a solid option. But you run into the same issues. Whereas I don't think Portland has any interest in a Brandon Ingram, and you don't have the salary to get Robert Williams otherwise. So it would have to be a Brandon Ingram trade, because the trade exception that the Pelicans have isn't large enough to absorb Robert Williams. Would you pay picks to Utah to take BI for Kessler, Sexton, and Collins? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that solves all of your problems. You have an incredible second unit with Collins, Sexton, and Collins. You have a really solid big in Kessler. And I think, to me personally, that's the deal I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Utah is like, look, we're going to lean into this Laurie situation, and we're going to try to acquire some talent around him, because that's what they've been trying to do for a couple years now with Michael and a couple other guys. They were rumored to be interested in Dame at one point. And I really think, I think that's the way to go. Say close to being a Zach LaVine situation. I thought about that, and I think it is a Zach LaVine situation. In fact, I think it's the only thing. I think it's worse in some areas and better in some areas. The areas that is worse than a Zach LaVine situation are Zach LaVine has been healthier throughout his career than Brandon Ingram. Zach LaVine plays a more modern brand of basketball, and Zach LaVine is a multiple-time All-Star. Brandon Ingram hasn't been very healthy. Brandon Ingram plays a bit of an antiquated brand of basketball. And Brandon Ingram, he wants even more money than Zach LaVine, and he's a one-time All-Star. So it just, to me, I think it's already a bad situation. The only advantage I would say the Brandon Ingram situation has over a Zach LaVine situation, if this is really an advantage, is that Brandon doesn't have as many years on his contract as Zach LaVine has. So if you trade for Zach LaVine, you might feel like you're stuck. If you trade for Brandon, you can say, oh, worst case scenario, we'll just let the market decide what goes on with him, and maybe we'll be able to do a sign and trade in the offseason. Pelicans seem to have ton of vision. From my understanding, they looked into some other things. Like before Allen, they were looking into Mobley. They were very interested in Mobley. Wendell Carter Jr., Isaiah Stewart. But the thing is, they don't have a ton of avenues to get these guys anymore, man. They really don't. Can the Pelicans keep behind stick up? Well, it depends, bro. It depends on Hippie. It depends on who you want to start. If you want to start Daniel Theis, you can start him. If you want to start Yves Masai, you can start him. But see, another thing is you have three. Let's just get into the roster construction. Let's say you got DeJounte Murray, you got Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, CJ McCollum, and a center, right? That's still one shooter in the lineup. It's one shooter that people are going to realistically feel threatened by in the lineup. That's CJ McCollum. The other, let's say, let's say this, I don't know who the center is going to be, but let's say Zion, DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram in the center. That's 4 players in that starting lineup that can only thrive on ball. That's 4 on ball players in that starting lineup. you've just got yourself right back into the same exact situation you've been trying to get out of. Whereas there's no spacing on the floor, the offense looks clunky. It's a my turn, his turn type thing. And it just wouldn't make any sense, man. Like the roster construction, this doesn't make any sense. And that's why for the DeJounte Murray acquisition, I have to give that a right now, it's an incomplete. I gotta give it an incomplete. Because if they have to keep Brandon Ingram, then it's a D or an F, truthfully. Because you managed to acquire DeJounte Murray and get worse, which is crazy. So it would have to be a D or an F. If they manage to get an actual center, a real center, and some depth for that second unit, then I would give it an A because I don't feel like they gave up much to get DeJounte Murray. No, still no one can throw a pass. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I just feel like the Pelicans are just always a step too slow. They're always being a bit reactive, right, versus being proactive. I think the time to move Brandon Ingram was about 1 or 2 off seasons ago. Because now in this new world, in this new market, you're seeing the league say, yo, we're not making these kind of mistakes anymore with these Tobias Harris type guys, with these Zach LaVine type guys, with these Brandon Ingram type guys. The smart GMs are avoiding these type of mistakes. Even with Paul George, the Clippers were like, we're not about to make this mistake. So, and this is Paul George. Yeah, Brandon Ingram is significantly younger than Paul George, but Paul George is significantly better than Brandon Ingram. So, I mean, you have to ask yourself, let's say Brandon wanted $42 million. Is Brandon Ingram $17 million better than DeJounte Murray? No. DeJounte Murray is arguably a better player right now today than Brandon Ingram. You know? Let me see. People don't understand. He's an actual PG, control live passes. I think Murray was, what he was asked to do in Atlanta kind of shaded people's view of him a little bit because he was asked to play again off ball a bit more, be a 2 guard, and Trey pretty much handled most of the facilitating duties until Trey went out, and then you saw Murray really thrive. You know what I'm saying? Also, again, you got the Trey Murphy contract extension coming up with Emmanuel Quickly's extension. I thought 25 was going to be the floor, right? Now I'm thinking 27 is the floor for Trey Murphy. And if you're paying Trey Murphy $27 million, you can't bring him off the bench. You just can't bring him off the bench. You can't do it. Right? You're not paying. And if it's more than that, oh, come on. You're not paying no 6 man. That's not like 6 man of the year. 27 and $30 million come off the bench. Nah, you got to put him in the starting unit. You have to. Just even from a roster construction standpoint, for what you want to run offensively, you have to put him in the starting unit. Like it just wouldn't make any sense. Not only that, so let's say you pay him that money. Going into next year, the Pelicans are gonna have about, let's say you pay him the money, you extend Brandon for whatever, right? Going into next year, the Pelicans are threatening to be a second apron team, which is ridiculous. New Orleans should never be a second apron team unless you're getting something crazy, like in exchange, in a trade or something. It should never be a second apron team. You can't have 3 and 4 players making $30 million. You just can't have it in the modern NBA. You can't do it. Even if there was like no luxury tax, even if there was no second apron, business-wise, it just wouldn't make any sense. Wouldn't make sense. It would be totally impractical. And I think what you're seeing is a bit of the chickens kind of come home to roost on those mid-level fringe all-star type players. People talk about Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam is an all-NBA guy. Pascal Siakam is an NBA champion. Pascal Siakam is a multiple-time all-star. Like, not the same thing. Even a guy like Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner is younger. Franz Wagner, his team just took Cleveland to 7. It was a really young team. Like, they just, they're gambling more on his promise. Brandon Ingram is who he is. When you pay a Trey Murphy, when you pay a Franz Wagner, when you pay a Emmanuel Quickly, when you pay a Devin Vassell, when you pay some of these guys, you're paying them for who you think they can become. Even when you max extended Zion Williamson, he was a two-time All-Star starter at that point in his career with the injuries. You're paying him for who he can become. And the issue is the entire league knows who Brandon Ingram is already. And these guys got eyes. So, I mean, Summer League is coming up. I think first game is Friday, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to be covering over at Booker Media doing recaps. If something got to shake at Summer League, I think that's all the GMs going to be in the same building. If you're David Griffin, that's the time. If you're trying to go get DeAndre Ayton, that's the time. I don't know how much interest Portland will be having there. If you're trying to go get Kessler, that's the time. If you're trying, like, that is the time to seal the deal, because every day that goes by, the Pelicans are losing leverage. Every day that goes by, and it's just one of those things where I really think a player should always try to get as much money as possible. Should always try, right? I think Brandon Ingram and his agency are overplaying their hand. And I feel like they're taking advantage of the situation with the Pelicans a little bit. Now, in fairness, Pelicans could be taking advantage of the situation with him. You know, Pelicans, when Brandon Ingram first arrived in New Orleans, they didn't want to give him a max extension. They made him go out and earn it. In this instance, the Pelicans are telling him, well, look, bro, you earned it last time. This go around, you didn't earn it. So we'll see. I think a deal has to happen. I think it's, man. If you guys go on Spot Track, it's a great source for like NBA cap sheets and just understanding of the CBA. Go take a look, and you will understand how dire the Pelicans' financial situation is. And if things look how they looked last season with the offense being clunky, yeah, they won 49 games, but they had a major health advantage last season. If they don't have that health advantage, if they don't have that, team stealth tanking advantage, then they could be in serious trouble. Can the Pelicans bring in Carlo and running back with BI? I mean, in theory, I suppose. But I think Carlo will put them in the tax. I think even, yeah. I mean, they could do that, but you would be in the tax still. And you would have a center rotation of Carlo, Yves Masai, and Daniel Theis. So you have two guys who barely know how to play basketball at center, and a journeyman big in Daniel Theis. So it's time to rip the Band-Aid off, personally. Take what you can get and run. But that's been today's show, man. I appreciate everybody chiming in. Leave your comments. It's going to be on a replay. I know people are going to, people always get sensitive about Brandon for some reason, but we'll see. Y'all enjoy y'all day. Enjoy y'all upcoming weekend. Enjoy Summer League. We out, man.